Welcome back to County Connection. For our final segment, we are going to be giving you a glimpse behind the scenes at Summit County's snow removal operations. And here to tell us all about it is Tom Gozrowski, our Public Works Director. Welcome, Tom.
Thanks, Julie. It's nice to be here.
All right, so the snow has finally blown in. It took a little longer than usual this year.
A lot longer, yeah.
Yep.
It finally turned winter. It certainly felt like winter this morning when I went outside.
Yeah, it was a cold one today.
Yeah.
So now that we do have the white stuff around us in all directions, give us an overview of what Summit County's snow removal operations consist of.
So for Summit County Public Works, we do snow removal on all of the county maintained roads. And that can be a little bit confusing as to what's state highway, what's county road, what's city or town road. But basically, if it has a county road number, and it's on our maintained road list, which you can find at Summit County Road and Bridge website, then we do the snow removal on those roads. We do not do I-70 or Highway 9. But
that's CDOT.
That's CDOT. And then, of course, we don't do things in the towns, like in Breckenridge or in the town of Silverthorne. But a lot of areas around Breckenridge that kind of feel like they're in town are in fact part of the county, and we do those areas.
All right. Yeah. And how many miles of road is that you guys are responsible for? It's
quite a lot. We have 145 total miles of road that we do snow plowing on in the winter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're pretty busy then.
We are.
All right. And so take us back behind the scenes. So when a storm rolls in, what's going on in your department? What are all the particulars of what has to happen in order to get the roads cleared?
Well, we're kind of rolling almost 24/7. We have a staff of 20 people that are basically divided into 2 shifts per day. On the weekdays, we have a plow operator that comes in. It starts at 3:30 in the morning and begins working on Swan Mountain Road and the Dillon Dam Road, which are both very important and prioritized roads for us. And then we have plow operators that plow until about 1:30 in the morning.
Oh, wow.
So we're constantly plowing snow.
So about 22 hours of operation.
About 22 hours a day, yeah, and that's 7 days a week. We have crews on the weekends, 2 shifts on each of the weekend days as well. So for normal snow, and even a storm like we've had the last several days, that is just covered by our normal plow operations that we do all winter long. If it's a really big storm or something unusual with the weather, then we definitely call people in and bring more resources in as we need them.
Okay. So a lot of folks come to Summit County from more urban areas, whether they move here or they're just here for the weekend or on vacation. And so talk about some of the differences in terms of the challenges that you face and your approach to operations and expectations maybe that the public should have in terms of that difference between snow removal in a rural setting like ours versus an urban setting, say like Denver.
I think probably the biggest difference is just the high alpine environment that we have here. We regularly plow snow off of roads all the way up to 11,200 feet, so pretty high up, and that's an elevation that not many other parts of the United States have homes and development in that kind of environment. So just the environment is a big difference, and of course in the wintertime that means we have a lot of snow and a lot of wind, and I think what people should expect is that snowfall can happen very rapidly, and it can snow 3-4 inches in an hour in a very intense storm here. That's going to completely cover over the roads, and if the wind's blowing, you could have drifts of several feet on a road. That's not going to get cleared the instant that it happens. It's going to take us a while to catch up, and so I think people should expect that, particularly when they drive into the higher elevation areas, the roads may not look like they're plowed all the way down to the dry road surface like you might experience in an urban environment. That our weather just changes so fast that we can't deliver that level of service all the time. And so that's a big change. I think people should also expect to see very heavy, maybe not normal snowplow equipment operating on the roads. So we do use snowplow trucks, but actually the majority of the equipment we use is big construction equipment. We use road graders or motor graders. We have 6 of those that we run for snow removal, and then we use big wheel loaders or front end loaders, and we have 4 of those. And that can be a little bit different for drivers, especially from other parts of the country where they're used to seeing a plow truck, but maybe not used to seeing a motor grader come down the road. Those are big, heavy pieces of equipment, 45, 50,000 pound pieces of equipment. And so we ask people to expect that they're going to see that on the road doing snow removal, and give that a lot of space and be careful around that equipment.
Okay. And what are either the locations or the logistical circumstances in which you're not using kind of one of the traditional plows that people think of versus some of the more of that greater construction type equipment?
Pretty much everywhere. We run motor graders on most all of our snowplow routes throughout the county. The front end loaders we use in areas where we have particularly steep roads and a lot of snowfall. So the highest elevation neighborhoods we have are generally in the Hoosier Pass or the Breckenridge area, and they'll see a lot of front end loaders running in that area. But motor graders all over the county. It's a very normal piece of equipment for us.
And the residents and visitors of Summit County should know that they are in great hands in that regard, because you have a particularly skilled group of equipment operators that come home with awards and prizes every year.
They do, yeah. We're fortunate we have a great crew of equipment operators, and we do a lot of work with the equipment manufacturers to actually help develop some of the equipment and get it kind of tailored to our needs in this environment. One of the things that we're really proud of is that we worked with Michelin to develop a snow tire for that heavy equipment. And so we run an actual snow tire, a little different than what you or I might run on our car, but it's still a snow tire that gives us a lot better grip on all of our plow trucks and all of our heavy equipment. And that's just kind of the part of, or a part of operating in the environment that we do operate in.
Right, and I think a testament to kind of the unique nature of our environment.
Very unique, yeah.
So you mentioned a little bit that Swan Mountain Road and Dillon Dam Road are kind of major priorities for you. Can you talk about kind of that overall system of prioritization and how you approach snow removal throughout the community?
Yeah, sure. So, primary roads are of most importance, and I mean primary in the sense that roads that carry the most traffic are most important to us. Swan and the Dam Road definitely fit that category. The Dam Road is a big challenge for us because of the way it's exposed to the wind.
Sure.
We have days when it's not even snowing very hard and we're still getting a lot of snow on that road. So we prioritize those. And then the next step down for us is the bus routes where the Summit State bus service travels. And a lot of the roads that the bus travels on are just like all of our roads in Summit County and can be very steep. And buses can have a hard time going up those roads when they're snowy and icy. And so we really prioritize and work closely with the bus drivers to identify areas where we maybe need to put more road sand down or do more plowing. Along with that, we prioritize school bus routes, particularly on the weekend or the weekdays, so that the schools can get kids to school and do that safely. And then, kind of the lowest level for us, and I don't mean to say that it's not important, but just in terms of priority, are the real true residential streets or cul-de-sacs. And those are going to be the last things that we're able to get to, particularly in a big storm event. So we focus on those primary roads with the most traffic and the bus routes, and then work our way down from there.
Right. Well, and that's good to know if you are in a residential area and you're seeing a lot of snow in the street. But if you feel like you can hoof it to a bus stop, that the roads have the better potential to be clearer out there. Yeah,
and we definitely make a big effort to make sure that we do everything we can to plow those residential streets at least once a day during a snow cycle or a storm. And so I think people can expect that their road is going to get plowed within a 24-hour period. But if you live on a residential cul-de-sac with 6 houses, it's not going to be a good expectation to think that we're going to have that plowed out by 6:30 in the morning. It's just not possible with the amount of road we have and the weather that we have.
Right. So given the large area that you have to cover, what are ways that residents and visitors can help your crew out in terms of moving through the county as quickly as possible and using your resources as efficiently as possible?
Yeah, that's a great question. And one of the primary ways that people can help us out is to not park on the county roads. And of course, most of us know it's illegal to park on county roads, and you certainly can be ticketed or towed. We definitely are tolerant of people who are having Thanksgiving dinner at their house and are having a lot of guests over and have cars parked that afternoon or that evening on the road, and we'll try to work around that. What really causes us problems is overnight parking on the roads.
Okay.
And so we ask folks to make sure that they're not parking cars on the road overnight, or that their guests aren't parking overnight. We see a lot of issues with that with short-term rentals, homes and condos that are rented out to folks who are coming from out of town, aren't used to living in snow country, and they get to one of these properties and the driveway may be full of snow, or the driveway may be really steep, and they're thinking, boy, I don't know if I can go down that driveway. I'm going to just leave my car up here on the road. We try to work with educating those folks to say, hey, we really need you to not park on the road, because that does create such a big impact on our plow operations.
And elaborate a little bit about why it does make things so much more difficult and less effective for the crew.
Well, just naturally over the course of our winter, as we start to push snow back from the road, we run out of space to push snow into, and we all see this, that the roads can kind of start to get more narrow as the winter goes on. When you put a parked car in that scenario as well, it can get to the point where it's really tough for us to get past a car with a big wide snowplow and a large piece of equipment. And of course, we don't want to damage anybody's car. The other side of that is that, in general, to a certain point, the faster we can move in a piece of plow equipment, the further we can throw the snow back from the road.
Okay.
And so if we're not able to drive through an area very quickly because of cars parked in the road and other obstacles, then it really makes it a lot more difficult for us to get the snow back away from the road. A lot of times, too, we'll see that those parked cars get covered over during a storm. And when we begin to plow, at 5:30 in the morning or earlier in the dark, they may not be very visible.
Okay.
And that's a hazard for us, but it's a hazard for other drivers on the road as well. And we certainly don't want to see anybody run into a parked car because it was covered over with snow and it wasn't very visible.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So what are some other issues that that you frequently see out there that kind of tend to slow things down?
Another big one.
Compromise safety, maybe.
Yeah, another big one, and this is a big safety issue as well, is that we will see property owners that end up shoveling or pushing snow out of their driveway into the road, and or try to push it across the road, which can be fine, but leave those little rows of snow on either side. And one of the things that happens with snow when you move it with a plow is that it warms up a little bit, and then as it cools down, it tends to freeze pretty solid. Those little ridges turn into these kind of ice speed bumps across the road, and can be surprisingly hard. And hitting one of those with a snowplow blade at 20, 25 miles an hour is dangerous to our operators. We've got stories of operators nearly going through the windshield when they hit that kind of thing.
Yikes.
Yeah, but it also can be, is very dangerous to other drivers on the road as well.
Sure.
So we really ask people to not push their snow into the road. There's actually state law in Colorado that says that that's illegal to do that. It's one of the unique laws that we have living in a climate with a lot of snow, because it is dangerous. So we ask people, please don't do that.
So push that snow onto your own property in the yard or what have you.
Yeah, hopefully onto the sides of your driveway. If you are going to push snow across the road, and we see a lot of the commercial snow plowers that will do that. Okay. Get it all the way off the other side, and then please clean up the kind of snow litter that gets left behind, and that is just safer and helps everyone. Along with that, I would say on driveways, we really ask people to pay attention to the pipe or the culvert that they have across their driveway. Most of our county roads have ditches alongside the road, and so the driveways are typically going to have that culvert where the ditch crosses the driveway. Right. We do not maintain those drive culverts. We view that as being a part of the private driveway. So just like we don't plow a private driveway, we don't keep those culverts clear, and that's a responsibility of the property owner. But those will freeze up and ice up and we particularly see that as a problem later in the winter when we start to get some warmer days and the sun's a little higher in the sky.
And you get those
we get some
freeze-thaw.
meltwater, freeze-thaw cycles, and those culverts will fill up with ice. And we put a lot of effort into maintaining our own roadway culverts, just where we have ditches that cross the road, because if that ice is up, then the water dams up and starts to flow over the road. And obviously, when it gets cold at night, that turns the road into kind of an ice
Skating
rink.
rink, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we really ask the property owners to pay attention to those, keep them clear, and make sure they're not freezing up and causing water to spill over into the road.
Right. One of the things you mentioned that a lot of the snow removal operation period is in the dark, and that's something people need to be aware of if they're out riding a bike or taking the dog for a walk.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that issue?
Yeah, definitely. A lot of us, I'm out every morning at 6 a.m. walking my dog. It's very dark, and particularly if it's snowing, that combined with the dark makes it really hard to see people and see pets that are on the road. And of course, the road is not just for cars. It's a great place for people to walk, and we all do that. But we ask that you try to make yourself visible. I use a headlamp. It helps me see, but it also helps me to be seen when I'm out walking around. I have a little red flasher light that I'll clip onto the dog so that the dog is a little bit more visible. And then any kind of reflective clothing. We'll see a lot of the runners and folks that are out that have a reflective vest or something like that. And all that stuff is great and helps us to keep people safe and make sure that we're not having any accidents with pedestrians or pets out on the roads.
Great. Any other tips or kind of safety items you can think of that people should be aware of?
Certainly let us know if you see an area that or an intersection that has become really icy.
Okay.
As I mentioned earlier, the weather conditions can change really quickly. You talked about freeze-thaw cycles. We got a little bit of that effect this afternoon. After a couple of cold and snowy days, we had some breaks in the clouds this afternoon, and I noticed things got icy really quick. Even though it's quite cold today, the sun melted a little bit of the snow and it's starting to refreeze in the shade on the pavement. And we obviously are out looking for that, but if residents see something that's particularly bad, then we welcome them to call us at Road and Bridge and let us know about that so that we can address it more quickly.
All right. So if people have questions about road and bridge operations or public works operations in general, or specific tips about intersections or conditions that may concern them, how can they get in touch with you?
The best way is through the Summit County website, so www.summitcountyco.gov. And under the Departments tab, look for the Road and Bridge Department. We've got a lot of information there, and all of our contact info is there as well, email and telephone number. If folks see a true emergency on the roads, or something that needs to be addressed right away, we ask them not to call and leave a voicemail at Road and Bridge in the middle of the night, but go ahead and call 911 or emergency dispatch for that kind of thing, and they'll get in touch with our operators. But lots of information available on the Road and Bridge webpage. And as you know, about a year ago, we put together kind of a cool YouTube video about snow removal issues that is really informative and kind of shows people a little bit better look at the conditions that are problematic for us. And that's on the Summit County YouTube webpage as well. So.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks so much for coming in and talking to us
Yeah.
and giving us a peek behind the scenes of the snow removal operations of the county.
Yeah, and we're happy that winter finally is here.
Definitely. All right. And thanks to those of you who've joined us at home for another episode of County Connection. We wish you happy holidays, and we will see you in the new year.